Can you help? Can you help me? Can you help? Self-helpless. Can you help? Can you help me? Can you help? Self-helpless. Can you help? Can you help me? Can you help? Self-helpless.
This episode of Self-Helpless is brought to you by BetterHelp. BetterHelp is a safe and private online counseling service. They will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/selfhelpless. That's betterhelp.com/selfhelpless.
This episode is brought to you by Dipsea. Just because you're grown up doesn't mean you've outgrown bedtime stories. Whether you want a story to turn you on or wind you down for better sleep, Dipsea helps you get in touch with yourself for some extra sweet dreams. And for listeners of the show, Dipsea is offering a 30-day free trial when you go to dipseastories.com/helpless. Feels is a better way to feel better. Feels Premium CBD will keep your head clear and help you feel your best. CBD has been proven to greatly reduce anxiety, pain, and sleeplessness. Get Feels Premium CBD delivered directly to your doorstep. Want a natural way to feel better without any hangover? Then try Feels. Become a member today by going to feels.com/helpless and you'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's FEALS.com/helpless to become a member and get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Self-Helpless. I'm Kelsey Cook.
I'm Delaney Fisher.
And man, you guys, I'm so excited for today's episode. This is one that we've wanted to do for a while. We have on my celebrity lookalike, the amazing Jessie Rogers. You might know my joke where I talk about my friend Jay having seen, I think I changed Jay's name in the joke, but it's my friend Jay who said that my celebrity lookalike is this porn star named Jessie Rogers. And when I Googled her, you know, it was her doing some pretty hardcore anal. And the joke is that I got a little weirded out knowing that my friend Jay saw that and was like, you know who this reminds me of? You know, old gaping butthole Kelsaru. So once that video went online, then it made its way to Jessie. And then we have now connected on Instagram and just thought it would make for a very fascinating podcast episode to talk about her life. And she was great. So without further ado, here is our interview with Jessie Rogers. Jessie Rogers, yay!
Oh my gosh.
Hello. So excited to be here.
So full disclosure for people who are watching on YouTube, we just started the Zoom, and as soon as I saw what Jessie was wearing, I was like, hold on, I have that exact same outfit. And I went and put it on because, I mean, if we're going to be twins, we might as well be full
right.
of twins for this episode. Really lean into it. But now that your hair, because is your hair naturally brunette?
No, I was actually blonde growing up, and it just gradually started getting darker as I got older.
Okay.
And at first I got some highlights and stuff, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna let it go natural.
Yeah.
So it was damaging it too much.
It can be a lot, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I first heard about you, your hair was pretty much the same color as my hair. And so you and I used to look like even more like, so I'll give a little bit of a backstory. I'm sure I'll talk about this in the intro too, but the reason I had heard about you was because one of my friends, Jay, told me that my celebrity lookalike was this porn star named Jessie Rogers. Yeah. When I Googled you, you know, as if I'm sure when you Google image any porn star, most of the first images that pop up are like, you know, sex. Right. So one of the first ones that popped up, I think, was you doing anal. And my friend who had texted me that, like, he and I have always had a platonic relationship. Right. And so I was laughing to myself, like, what, like you saw those photos and was
Right.
like, gape and butthole Kelsaru. Like that's my girl. And so, and I didn't know that you had seen any of my jokes about that. And then I think somebody screenshotted you posting one of my clips in your stories being like, who is this girl? I've seen her like joking about this before.
Yeah.
And you and I connected.
Yeah. Yeah. I asked one of my, I posted in my stories. I think I was like, someone needs to introduce us or something.
Yeah.
And then, that's how we connected.
So how did you first find, like, did you just stumble on one of the videos on Instagram, or were people tagging you? Like, how did that happen?
My husband on occasion will Google my stage name, and he found it and showed it to me, and we were both cracking up. Of course.
That's
and then
awesome.
I was like, oh, I need to meet her.
I know. It's so funny I feel this like weird bond with you, and yet this is the first time we've ever talked.
Right.
But man, I'm sure Delaney, you do too. So many questions for you. I also, this was, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago, I had kind of looked into your life more and read a really interesting interview that you did about getting out of porn and that whole experience. And so, we'd love to talk to you more about that and all that. So, how old were you when you started into porn?
I was 18. So I did my first real shoot pretty much the day after I turned 18.
Wow.
But I actually sat down and talked with an agent when I was 17. So,
okay. So you were young.
Yeah, I was very young.
Okay.
And I retired at 19.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Quite a career. Just like got in, got out.
Yeah.
Kept it moving.
Not know that. What led to that decision? What led you to saying, yes, I'm going to try this out?
So I had experience with modeling. I got my first modeling contract in New York when I was 11 years old. And I had like basically looked the same from 11 to 17. Like I grew really fast. So I had experience doing that. And then I always kind of had an interest in doing some nude modeling, like Playboy or Penthouse or whatever. But she sat down with me. Well, the initial emails, she didn't say it was porn, but when she sat down with me, she did say like, oh, basically it's porn. And then she handed me a sheet where it said like GG, BG, BGGG, whatever. I was like, I don't know what this is, but sure, I'll do it all.
Very open-minded. So you did it for like a year.
Yeah, I did it for about a year. I did a lot in a year, actually. I jumped around with agents, and the second agent that I had, the first agent that I had, I signed the contract with her when I was 17. So the contract wasn't really a contract. And then the second agent that I had, he couldn't keep up with my bookings. Like he would double, sometimes triple book me in a day. And we would, have to try to move things around.
And porn, I would imagine porn's not one of those things where like you would want a heavy schedule in a day. It's like,
oh yeah, no. There was one time where I had like, I wasn't aware of the guy, and I was really sore the next day, and I had another big guy, and I was like, how am I going to handle this? So I put vodka in a water bottle And I went to set that way, and it was actually a live stream. So I ended up getting wasted in a live stream. And they were pretty upset with me because I was all sloppy and stuff. But I was like, it's my agent's fault. I'm already sore. I don't want to be here.
Yeah. Also, like, you try to take this dick. Like,
Right.
what else am I supposed to do right now?
That's a lot of work. Yeah.
I tried getting another agent that I thought was more professional because he had like bigger named girls and stuff like that. But he ended up just being like a complete asshole. And he was actually like on several news outlets, like outed. His name is Derek Hay for like pimping and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
I never did that with him, but he did try to manipulate me in other ways. And so, my dumb ass had signed a 5-year contract with him. And so in my head, I was like, well, there's no way for me to keep doing porn without him. And I don't want to keep making him money. So, and some other stuff happened, but that was like the foundation that started for me to want to get out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you feel during your time doing porn that you had some positive experiences? I mean, I would assume if you did it for a year that there were times where you were like,
right,
I'm enjoying this career path. I'm going to keep doing this for a while. Like, what were some experiences that you enjoyed?
Yeah, there were definitely positive experiences. I think that if I had gone in with my eyes open and gone independent and not gotten so many people involved in my career, then I think it would have been mostly positive, and I would probably still be doing it in some way. I mean, well, I kind of am like through OnlyFans, but it's more like I'm my own producer, own director and stuff like that. But I'm saying like occasionally working for other companies.
Your body paint stuff is really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's really, really awesome.
Yeah. There were, I think, actually like the companies that seem to be the roughest are actually the ones that treated me the best. Like, a lot of, I don't know if I can say the company's name or on here.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Okay.
Whatever you want to do. Yeah, up to you.
Like kink.com, they're like very heavy BDSM type of stuff. And I always had positive experience working for them.
So if you hadn't signed that contract with that one person, that was like a 5-year thing, you may be still doing it in a more mainstream way instead of an independent way, perhaps?
I think so. Well, not in the way that I did it. I did shot so many scenes within that year. I think I would maybe like occasionally, maybe a few times a year, just shoot a couple of scenes for a company, maybe like just a solo or girl, because I'm married now, but
yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's a whole other series of questions I want to ask about, like your husband and all of that. So you must have had a very successful year that you did porn, because I do feel like you are pretty well known, you know, especially for like only having done it a year and however many years ago that was. So I asked what some of the positive experiences were. What were some of the negative ones, if you feel comfortable talking about it?
On set, I had a girl that I had been planning this shoot with for a while, and she was a little bit newer than me, but she was getting popular pretty quickly, and we planned to do a girl shoot together. And I was like, I'm so excited, whatever. We were both excited. And she was very hardcore, and so she brought like these huge toys to set, and I was like, okay, well, she must know how to use it if they're her toys, right?
Right.
And then I was like, okay, yeah, whatever, she literally, the first position that we get into, I'm in doggy, and she rams her like huge rippled glass toy inside my butt, and I'm like trying to pull away, but she's just like pounding and going, and then I'm like, okay, I can't stop. And then I sit down on the bed, and I think the sheets were white or beige, some light color, but like I scoot over, and I'm like, I see blood all over the sheets. I'm like, oh fuck. She just fucked my bookings for the next month.
Oh my God. What did you do? Did you have to go to the doctor? Like, is it just one of those things that like you just had to give it time and it healed on its own?
Yeah, I soak in Epsom salt all the time. So that's my cure for everything. So I stayed home and soaked in Epsom salt for about a month. Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry.
I get it, but it's crazy to think that. I mean, I've never been in the adult entertainment industry, but I feel like that's pretty common sense not to do that to somebody, right? Like that doesn't. I don't understand where that person's thinking was. Did she apologize? Did she just not know what she was doing? Did she do it on purpose? Like, what do you think happened?
She did apologize. She was kind of embarrassed. But I was actually dating someone in the industry at the time, another male performer. And I went home and told him about it. And he was like, I think she wanted to do that to you because, I don't know, jealousy or something. It didn't make any sense to me because usually people are categorized into something like blonde or, girl next door. And she didn't fit any of the categories that I fit into other than being a little bit more freaky. Like she was heavily tattooed, like dark, super jet black hair. So I was like, what? We're not even competition. Like, what do you have to be jealous about?
Man, well, because like you said you were like, well, now I have to cancel all these bookings, and that's your income. That's such a scary part of it that you have to give so much trust to this person that could potentially, like, she hurt you. You know what I mean? Like it's
So you've contributed to so much change in the industry. Can you share a bit about that experience and what came out of it? What were you able to change?
Nothing. I don't think anything came out of it really. So I worked with AHF for a few months, and what was the other guy, the politician? I can't even remember his name. He had me come to Sacramento a couple of times and testify. But the bill didn't get passed. So yeah, I mean, it's fine. I think it worked out for the best because the industry changed as well. A lot more people are independent and able to call the shots with how much they work or who they work with and stuff like that. So
I feel like it definitely spread awareness at the very least that you're going after something like that. So if you could snap your fingers and everything could be put in place that you think would benefit the industry and adult entertainers, what would that look like? What kind of policies would they have or regulations?
I think the most important thing, and I see this happening with OnlyFans too, is like, stop painting this unrealistic picture of the industry where you only talk about like how much money you can make and all of the pros. Like when I try to talk about it, I try to give people a realistic perspective. Like there's pros and cons to everything in life, including this industry. And what happens a lot of the times when they want to make money off of younger girls is they'll only paint up this certain picture, like, oh yeah, you can make $20,000 to $30,000 a month, and like your family isn't going to find out, and like all of this bullshit. That's what that first agent did to me. And I see some OnlyFans creators try to do that, like on certain platforms like TikTok and stuff like that, just to get referral codes, like just to make a percentage off of a referral code. Yeah, I don't do that. I think it's best that people know what they're getting themselves into before they do it. I saw this 18-year-old girl crying on TikTok, and she was like, oh, someone just blackmailed me about my OnlyFans, and they're going to tell my family. And she's like, I'm so sick of seeing all of these creators say that your family isn't going to find out, and like paint this picture without sharing all of these potential consequences. And so I think that would be a good start. Stop trying to hoover these young girls who don't even have their frontal lobe fully developed and aren't fully experienced in being an adult and weighing out all of these potential consequences, and be more open about both the pros and the cons, I think. Yeah.
Did you feel like when you got into porn at 18 that you knew for sure you were going to be comfortable forever with those videos being on the internet? Like, do you still feel comfortable? I mean, I guess now you do OnlyFans and stuff.
Right.
Do you still feel pretty comfortable, like even at 18, that you knew what you were doing?
I mean, as far as the nude stuff, I did want to do that. Mm-hmm. The more hardcore stuff, I don't know, I wasn't fully aware. And the woman that talked to me, she was like, oh no, you'll have a stage name, like people aren't gonna find out. And I'm like, Now that I think about it, I'm like, she really said that when like I was on these mainstream platforms like Bang Bros and stuff like that.
Yeah.
People aren't gonna find out. Like,
well, yeah, you're not in like some full Halloween costume with like a, Jason the killer mask over your head. Like it's it's your fate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Wow.
You talked about, you're married now. How does your husband feel about those like the OnlyFans stuff or the past porn? Was that an interesting conversation to have with him? Like, did he already know that when he met you, or did he find out once you guys started dating?
I walked around in life just assuming everyone knew. And I assumed that he knew, but I guess he didn't. So I did have to sit down and have that conversation with him.
And how far into dating did you guys have that conversation?
I think he was like on date 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was his reaction to it?
He said he had an inkling that I did something like that.
Oh, really? What were you doing on date number 1 and 2?
Yeah, it was like, she's really good in bed. Like, we're like professional.
Best ever, right? Is there something interfering with your happiness or is preventing you from achieving your goals? BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can start communicating in under 48 hours. It's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It is professional counseling done securely online. You can log into your account anytime and send a message to your counselor. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule a weekly video or phone session so you won't ever have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room as with traditional therapy. I absolutely love BetterHelp. I have been using it for quite some time now. My therapist is fantastic. She's just helped me with so many different things, relationships, meditation, handling stress, everything. I can't refer to this platform enough. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change counselors if needed. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. Over 1 million people have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional, and you can too. In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp, they are actually recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. And Helpsters get a special offer with 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/SHLPOD. That's betterhelp.com/SHLPod.
Yes, and we want you to start living a happier life today. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/selfhelpless. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's betterhelp.com/selfhelpless.
So many New Year's resolutions are about doing less of something. Why not give yourself more pleasure, more rest, more time to connect with yourself and your body? Get in the habit with Dipsea. Dipsea is an audio app full of short, sexy stories designed to turn you on. Each Dipsea story features characters that feel like real people and immersive scenarios, so you feel like you're right there. The stories range in explicitness, and you can search for certain types of stories, different couplings, and so much more. Find stories about an off-limits hookup with your professor, or a costume party that takes things to the next level, or maybe a story where your partner tells you exactly what to do, or you try a new toy together. They release new stories every week, so there's always more to explore, no matter who you're into or what turns you on. Dipsea also has wellness sessions to help you learn more about yourself, and bedtime stories and soundscapes to help you relax before you drift off. And for listeners of the show, Dipsea is offering a 30-day free trial when you go to dipseastories.com/helpless. That's a 30-day free trial when you go to dipseastories.com/helpless. dipseastories.com/helpless. Do you experience stress or have anxiety or chronic pain or have trouble sleeping at least once a week? You're not alone. Many of us do. Personally, I feel like I'm a pretty anxious person. I get anxious even recording this podcast, to be honest. And sometimes my anxiety really affects my overall mood and definitely affects my sleep. And I cannot tell you how much better Feels just makes me feel in my own body. Feels is premium CBD delivered directly to your doorstep. Feels naturally helps reduce stress, anxiety, pain, and sleeplessness. When I'm feeling particularly anxious or stressed, I will take Feels and I sleep through the night without those crazy waking up at 3, 4 a.m. stressing about the next day. I absolutely love Feels. It's really easy to take. Place a few drops of Feels under your tongue and feel the difference within minutes. The thing to remember about CBD is that finding your right dose is important and everyone's dose is different. So leave room to experiment over the course of a week or so. You may need to take more or less to get the effects that you are after. New to CBD, Feels offers a free CBD hotline with real human support to help guide your personal experience. Feel better naturally with Feels. Feels works naturally to help you feel better. There's no high, hangover, or addiction. Join the Feels community to get Feels delivered to your door every month. You'll save money on every order and you can pause or cancel anytime. Feels has me feeling my best every day and it can help you too. Become a member today by going to feels.com/helpless and you'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's feals.com/helpless to become a member and get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping. Feals.com/helpless. I mean, since you've left, I'm sure there's been a point in your life with interactions that people have found out, about your former career, have do they treat you a certain way once they find that out, or do people really not find that out now?
I had several like normal jobs. I think one of my other supervisors knew because we were standing at this convention. I was selling outdoor renovations to people. Super random job, I know. But
What a 180.
Some guy came up to me and my coworker, and he said something like, "Oh, there were 2 different people that were here yesterday." And my coworker said, "Oh yeah, we swapped out teams." And then the guy said, "Oh, you got the all-star team here today." And then my coworker just turned around and started like busting out laughing. And so I was like, I think he knows.
Oh, that has to be a strange feeling
Yeah.
for you to like suspect that somebody knows, but not know for sure. And then like not converse about it. I mean, I feel like a little weird even as a comic where you don't know. I just had an experience where I've been visiting a family member who's ill right now, and I've seen this particular nurse several times in the past few weeks.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until a couple days ago that she was like, "By the way, like I really love your comedy." And you're like, "Oh, like it's so weird when you don't, like you haven't known that entire time you've been talking to them that they know who you are, but they've known who you are."
Right.
Then, you know, it's always like,
yeah.
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 So now with the OnlyFans stuff, how does that differ for you than your past? I mean, I'm sure you feel more in control now and like you get to produce your own content. And are you really enjoying it? Do you feel like passionate about it? Is it a fun, exciting thing to do?
Yeah. Pretty much everything that you just said, I feel completely more in control. I get to set my own hours. I get to choose what I'm going to create. And if I don't feel good that day, then, I just don't shoot anything. I don't have an agent in my ear, like trying to manipulate me saying,
right.
"Oh, your payments last month were really low. You have to go, blah, blah, blah." Like,
yeah, maybe go do something that you don't really want to do.
Right.
Yeah. You have so much power now, which must be really nice.
Yeah.
Are there any like misconceptions about sex workers, adult film stars, just the industry in general that you wish the general public knew?
I think people think that most sex workers, or maybe even all sex workers, are like these crazy drug addict or like having fucking swinger orgy parties all the time. And most of us are just like fucking quirky homebodies that we like to express our sexuality, but we're like a little bit more introverted in other ways too. So yeah.
That's such an interesting perspective. We just did an episode on extroverts versus introverts.
Right.
And yeah, I guess I would assume that most porn stars are extroverts because it's such a vulnerable public thing to do. And so that's fascinating to know that do you feel like you're an introvert?
I would call myself more of an ambivert, which is like you have a mixture of both. Yeah.
Right. We just I think Delaney and I both feel that we're ambiverts too.
Right.
I feel like it's probably a pretty small part of the population that is truly like a full introvert or a full extrovert.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, it's interesting. People even have misconceptions about comedians, thinking they must be so extroverted. They must be like the life of the party and and it's like, then they meet one and it's like, they're in the corner by themselves, like not wanting to talk to people. So it's so interesting to hear that.
Right.
What are your interests or hobbies, like kind of outside of your work? What do you like to do like in your day to day?
I love going out in nature. we've been going out on trail walks and hikes
Nice.
at least twice a week. Yeah, since the
Nice.
pandemic started. So that's a huge part of the routine now.
Yeah, I feel like that's become a
that.
big part of a lot of people's routine.
Yeah.
This is more for me in our years of my twinning.
Yeah.
You have one of the best asses I've ever seen in my entire life. How can you help me and our listeners have, like, are there exercises you do? Or is that just like a gift?
I think it's a mixture of both. Yeah,
Okay.
a mixture
Reverse
of
nurture. You get a little,
yeah.
little bit of both. Yeah. Well, if there are particular like squats you do or something, like the people want to know. We want to know how to even try to get
Well,
having your ass.
yeah. Yeah, the hiking, I go hiking, and then I've been doing a lot of body weight stuff, squats. I also do like these leg ups when like you're laying down and you or
Oh, like
I
the
don't
old
know.
school like
Yeah.
exercise videos with like the sweatbands and stuff like that. Exercise type of stuff. Yeah.
When the gym was open, I don't know if you're familiar with the Smith machine.
I don't know.
It's like the squat rack, but it's like connected to the machine. So I would bring it down and then get into like a doggy position and raise my leg like back and put weights on it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like a weighted leg out.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Taking mental notes.
Trick. There's the trick, everybody.
I got a trip to Hawaii coming up. I'm like
lunges too.
Okay.
And increase your calorie intake, maybe like add all the peanut butter you can in your smoothies and all of that. Yeah.
Don't have to tell me twice.
Thank
tell
you.
me to eat cookies. This is
going to put that on loop. Yes, that's great. We all need to hear that.
That's my favorite advice I've ever been given is up your calories. I'm like, oh my God, done and done. Happy
Don't hear it enough. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, because there was a time period where I did lose weight and my butt was relatively smaller. So
yeah,
I have a question. So, is there any like harmful terminology out there that people kind of tend to use when they're talking about sex workers or the entertainment industry or adult entertainment industry? Can you kind of speak to that a little bit? What kind of things should people stop saying, or how do you feel about that?
I personally don't get offended with certain names. I think I get more offended when in the way that people talk about sex work, like that it's not a real job. It can only be a side hustle, or just things that would invalidate it as work.
Yeah.
Someone made a comment on my YouTube channel saying something like, "Oh, don't make sex work or something like that." And I was like, "But you just said it was work."
Right. That's so crazy to me that people even think that that's not work or a full-time job or can be a full-time job. I didn't even know that was something that people were saying in that space.
So this is kind of touching on what I was saying before about talking about that she can't wait for like this fan gangbang and stuff like that. I mean, is there an element of kind of theater to the adult entertainment industry where, because I'm sure that so many dudes' dreams is like hearing one of their favorite porn stars be like, sign up here to be able to fuck me. Like, do porn stars, do they actually want to do that? Or is that kind of part of growing their fan base? Does that make sense when I'm asking like what the difference is between actually enjoying having sex in the videos or doing things that are kind of just for show?
I mean, as far as performers go, I think it's subjective. We all like different things. But I've learned recently that a lot of companies, they'll film certain things as like, with keeping in mind like what's going to go viral on Pornhub, because there's so much content on Pornhub already. It's like, what are people going to look at and get shocked or laugh at, or like, you know,
Right.
share with their friends. And so as far as that goes, sometimes they'll create content for that. Because I was talking about with another girl. She also stopped working for companies and pretty much doing mostly OnlyFans. And she was telling me that she was getting booked like way too many incest scenarios, and it was weirding her out. Like, she's in the MILF category, and so she would have to be like the predator, like the mom or stepmom or whatever. And it was just really weirding her out. So she stopped.
Right.
And when she started doing OnlyFans more, she realized like her fans didn't even ask for that. And so she was like, it's not because the fans want it, it's because they want that shock value.
Oh,
so it's more the platform that wants it than the actual fans. That's interesting.
Yeah. I've talked before about learning through, I used to tour with Jim Norton, who's a great comedian, and on his radio show, we talked about learning about snot porn and things that are like, I would have no idea would be somebody's kink. Did you ever end up having to do something like that where you were like, this is totally like not something that I would be into, but I'm doing this because I know that it's what some other people are into?
I did have a shoot that things got a little bit weird, and it was actually a solo shoot. So I was just like technically working with myself, but the guy had me just put really weird things up there. So, like a broom and food and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, whatever. I had flown all the way to the East Coast just to do that. So I was like, okay, I gotta get it done. And it was an all-day thing. And by the end of it, I'm trying to remember what order it went. Okay, so the second to last clip that I did for him, he was trying to get me to use a speculum. And I was like, I can't do it. I have a phobia. I don't even go, like, I hate gynecologists. Yeah. And I started crying. And he was just like, he panned from my face and just stayed on my vagina because I was crying. And he's like, you're doing great. You're almost done. I was like, okay.
Oh my God.
And then I had one more set to finish, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I really don't. Like, my vagina was swollen at that point already. And that was the day that I discovered that my asshole was a lot more forgiving than my vagina.
Oh my God. Put that on a t-shirt.
Did you ever feel like, the crew or the person filming ever took advantage of you in the sense that maybe they were directing you to do stuff more that they were enjoying in the moment? Or do you feel like it was mostly pretty professional and it was with the vision of the entire project in mind?
So I would blame that particular instance on my agent, because he had sent so many girls out to him before. And when I called him and complained about it, and he told me that, like, oh yeah, other girls have complained about him before. And I'm like, so why are you still sending girls out? You know?
Right.
So, I mean, his company was all about that. So, my agent should have warned me before at the very least.
Another way that you and I are now connected is because
Right.
people know my video about trying to masturbate with a manicure tool, and then ended up in the emergency room because I was allergic to latex and I didn't realize it. So anyway, I found out early that I would not be putting any other random objects in my vagina at age 17. So. Yeah.
You really ended up in the emergency room?
Yeah, my crotch had swollen shut, like after I took it out. I looked at it with a mirror and everything had just like swollen shut because I was having an allergic reaction. So I had to go down to like the emergency clinic, and it was so embarrassing because I grew up in this tiny town where like everybody knew everybody. I'd been seeing this family doctor for a really long time, and he was this very, I don't know, like kind of like a Christian man. And I had to tell him what I did. And then he, like put on his miner's headlight and like poked around. I mean, it was just, those are such like formative years of your sexuality and your self-esteem. And I just like mortified. It was so embarrassing. So now like the way that you have a phobia of what's it called again?
Speculum.
Yeah. I don't even like, I mean, I just have to make sure that it's non-latex, but it's still, there's something about where I'm like, oh God, like if this were to give me a reaction, it would be very, very upsetting.
Can I just say, looking at you guys this whole time, I really feel like the dorky triplet right now. I'm looking at you guys, and both of you look gorgeous, and I'm like, what about ass play, you guys? I'm just getting a full glimpse of all of us right now. I'm not insecure at all right now. I would love to know have there any been, tough conversations with like friends and family, either when you were first getting into this, this career, or when you left, or has anything like that happened?
My stepdad, that's a whole nother conversation. He's always been toxic, but when I was in the industry, he called me and he was like, I've been watching your videos and you're really good at your job. Oh, and I was like, God,
I'm so sorry.
Thanks.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. That is something you should
very cringy
ever deal with.
Yeah. No, not in a million years.
Yeah. And then recently I saw his name pop back up on my OnlyFans, and I tried to address it with my mom because for a long time I didn't tell her because I didn't want to upset her. And she just made a whole bunch of excuses for him. And she had already like been making excuses for his drinking and all of that stuff. And so I was like, you know what? I need to cut you guys out of my life.
I'm so sorry.
Seriously.
It's fine.
Well, it sounds like you made the right decision for yourself, though, 100%.
Yeah.
And you started your own family.
Exactly.
I hope that you and I can meet at like a show sometime. I think we have to take a picture together because my followers will shit their pants. They'd be so excited for us to like actually meet and have a photo. That would be very fun.
Of course. Yeah. I'll maybe try to get some highlights. Be more blonde again.
Yes. You get some highlights. I'll get some lowlights. We'll like meet in the middle.
I'll be there too. Same outfit, ladies.
It's in the background. Well, thank you so much for coming on here and just being an open book. I find your life so fascinating, and I think it's really cool that you do what you love for a living. And
absolutely. And then I would just ask, if anybody listening to this show right now is considering getting into, the adult entertainment industry in some fashion, do you have any like words of advice for them if they're, considering that, or what they should be considering?
Definitely do research. Um, oh God, there's a lot to consider. There's still so much stigma around any kind of sex work. So just considering that in itself, even though it's something that I don't agree with, there still is. I didn't have to go through like job stigma or anything like that, but it's something that can happen. Also, if you have kids, and you're not with your partner, or you're going through like custody battle, that can definitely get brought up in a custody battle as something negative or whatever. I mean, I think those are like the two like most serious things I would say to just, and well, I guess this goes with any kind of public job. It's just to consider like stalkers and hackers and stuff like that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, do you want to plug anything like where people can find you? You want to plug your OnlyFans, any of that?
Sure. Yeah. So all of my links are on my Instagram. I have my link tree there, and it's just instagram.com/yourgreenguru. My OnlyFans is onlyfans.com/mzjessie. And then I also do Twitch, and my Twitch channel is the same as my Instagram. It's just Your Green Guru.
Well, this was awesome. Thank you for talking with us.
Yeah.
All right, man. It was so cool to meet her finally, like over Zoom even, but it's weird. It's kind of like looking in a mirror, particularly like, it's a little different now that her hair's darker, but back when she was doing porn, those pictures, if you Google image her and her hair was blonde, we really, really look a lot alike.
You look very similar. I could have asked her 50 more questions. There's so many things that and yeah, she was very, very open and honest and candid. And I super appreciate that. She thinks she had really great advice too. Yeah. For people, considering this profession. And yeah, it was eye-opening for sure. Yeah, definitely. To say the least.
Yes. Yes.
And we do have an iTunes review of the episode. This one is from Helpless Newborn. And it says, my current binge, I am widely impressed with this podcast. I tried getting into podcasts and they became the next big thing for us to do with our time / on our journeys into work, etc., and just couldn't. I gave them a chance again over this past weekend. And thank goodness I did and found a podcast I adored. Yours. I am familiar with Taylor's comedy from Facebook videos, and she's what caught my eye as I looked for comedy podcasts. Irritated that I had never heard of Delaney or Kelsey before. Facebook needs to up its suggested videos game, or maybe I need to search pyramid schemes and boob jobs. So the algorithm figures it out.
Oh my God.
So good. So many inside jokes in here.
Oh yeah. God, I cannot be associated with pyramid schemes. Just I can't handle it.
I love it. Overall, this new binge keeps me energized and excited when I do pretty much anything in my schedule. I listen in the car on my way to and from work and have it on my HomePods when I'm doing anything at home. Thank you so much, Helpless Newborn. Much appreciate.
Much appreciate.
Much appreciate this lovely review. If anybody else wants to leave one, maybe you'll get read on the show. Head over to the iTunes app. Yes, or the Apple Podcast, whatever you got.
Click on that 5th star. You can also, this was a great episode to watch on our YouTube, because then you can see
how good I look.
You can see how good Delaney looks. That's really the number one reason you should go, is to see how good Delaney looks. And you can see the doppelganger effect with me and Jesse. And then also my cat Mia often is on my lap. And there you go. I mean, who doesn't want to just see the cutest cat ever?
Precious. Maverick is not allowed to be up here usually when we're recording, because he'll see somebody outside at the window and he'll start barking his head off. So
Maverick can't help himself.
Maverick is exactly. Yeah. Do you have anything segment-wise that you'd like to plug or anything like that?
I would like to plug my upcoming shows. I am going to be at Helium in Philly Philly Helpsters, come out to these shows March 25th through the 27th. I hope this episode comes out before then. If it's already come out, I hope that it was a great weekend of shows, and I hope that you guys came out to them. I will be headlining Spokane Comedy Club April 8th through the 10th, Tacoma Comedy Club April 15th through the 17th, and then I know we've got a lot of DC Helpsters. I'm going to be at the DC Comedy Loft in May. So go to kelseycook.com. All the ticket links are there, a bunch of shows coming up, and all the clubs that I'm going to are doing things very, very safely. I feel comfortable going. It's being done very well, so check it out.
Awesome. And then I just want to plug Amanda Hill, who was a guest on our show talking about the 12 steps, where she really opened up about like the specific examples from her 12-step journey. She just launched a new podcast called Life Not Wasted, and it's all about navigating sobriety. And she does it with her friend Molly, and it's really great. So if you're curious about that, head on over and show them some Helpster love. That's an exciting new project.
That's great. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, you guys. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode, and hope you have a great day. Bye.
See you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Self-Helpless podcast. You can find our Patreon community, merch, and our individual work at selfhelplesspodcast.com. We'd be thrilled if you shared this episode with a friend, or feel free to post it on Instagram and tag at Self-Helpless Podcast so we can repost you and say thank you.